Spirituality is a manufacturer of your own capability of thinking, acting, and learning. Spirituality is within you, but sometimes you got to be nurtured just like a baby. And that spirituality has to grow one day at a time and one moment at a time. It's just a part of life that it took me. It took many steps, many miles, decades to get where I'm at today, spiritually. And the more that I read, the more that I see, the more that I feel, the more happier that I am. My name is Mike Klein. I live in Harrisburg, Virginia. I was born 3/9/57 in Cleveland, Ohio. My first two degrees are electronic engineering and mechanical drawing. And I used to be a drug addict, alcoholic, gambler. The reason I done drugs and alcohol to hide from the pain of ugliness of being abused by my mother. My mom was a housewife. My dad was in politics and a union representative for the steel company. I had 9 sisters, 6 brothers. I was the 16th child. There's quite a bit of age difference between us. Right now, I'm the only survivor of my siblings. She was a wonderful mother, but she was abusive. She was overprotective. And she abused me mentally and sexually. Because I was her last. I was her baby. I was the one she thought she needed to protect the most. The memories are quite a few. I love going on family vacations. We went out west many times. We went to Oregon, Washington State, California, Oregon. We went to Mexico and stuff like that. We went to the Grand Canyons and stuff like that. They was all beautiful times, beautiful and wonderful. School was awesome, except for 7th grade. Because of our teacher, her name was Mrs. Ewing. She loved to crack people's hands with a ruler. And she made me want not to learn for a while. All the other teachers were wonderful. The town was Sprongsville, just outside of Cleveland. It was a very beautiful suburb of Cleveland. It had many different awesome people lived there. Most of the families on my street had 10 or more children. We always had somebody to play. We had our own baseball field, football field. We all had our own wooded area that we used to play war games in. The first time I got married when I was 20. The second time I got married, I was 24. The third time I got married, I was 27. And the marriages didn't last long because of my drugging, my alcoholism, in my gambling. The more women I thought I had, the more powerful I felt. The more I felt in control. Then I found I wasn't. The women were in control. It was my drug, a part of my drugging. It was a drug that I needed. It was a part of the abuse I was trying to forget. I was trying to control the situations that I couldn't at all. I was on the street. I was homeless. I was living between houses, student housing, with couches, students' porches, basements, and stuff like that. And I helped form a shelter called Open Doors for the homeless, to help homeless people stay out of the cold. Before we opened that shelter, 2 people died, froze to death. And I could have froze to death if it wasn't for college students. I love to study. I love to read. I love adventures. I love being involved. I love living. I've been close to death 5 different times because of being hit over the head, because of too much drugs, because of a lot of different things. But the more I look at life today from the past, the more I believe in spiritual life. I tried to commit suicide 4 times. And my guardian angel at the time, I bless her soul, was there every time I tried. And I know the feeling of loneliness. I know the feeling of hurt. I know the feeling of despair. The person that answers the hotline, but the way I answer it is when they send me to that person who's trying to commit suicide and talk to them in person. The more I talk to them in person, the more that I can see their facial expression and to help them see a better life. And to show them that life is happiness, joy. And I enjoy it. Questions and inventions, I love doing that because I hate to see people hurting. I hate to see people not having the answer or that they need to make their life better.
So Mike and I met at a coffee shop. I was at the coffee shop preparing to facilitate a youth conference, a Baha'i youth conference in the region. And Mike was there meeting with 2 ladies, and they were having a conversation about youth in the community. And one of the ladies posed the question to the other 2. She said, well, how do we get youth involved in our community? And I overheard this and I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but that's exactly what I'm studying right now. And that's what we're gonna plan to do at this conference, is get youth involved in our community, specifically in forms of service. And so they got excited, especially one of the ladies and Mike. And so eventually our conversation got to, I showed them a video about the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program, and they wanted to learn more. And so we made a date to get together after the conference, and I would share with them what the youth had planned for the community. So we got together after the conference and actually invited them to the planning meeting with the youth. So all the youth from the conference were there. This lady, Hannah was her name, and then Mike we're all planning to come to my home as well as some other community members in the area where we lived. And we met, and the youth shared some information about what they learned, and they all made plans of what they wanted to do in our community to help be of service.
And after that, me and Julie became good friends. And she got me studying book 1.
So we started studying book 1. It was just him and I. There wasn't anyone else that was available at the for the schedule that we had. I was in university, and I was also working, and Mike was pretty free. He was studying at the time, but so we were able to meet basically like in the park, or we met at the same coffee shop a lot, and we'd study book 1 together. And then toward the end of book 1, Mike said, well, you know, I'm very interested in the Baha'i faith and learning more about it. And a couple sessions later, we were in the coffee shop, and I had my laptop, and he said, you know, I really would like to become a Baha'i. I want to register. And so I went on the website, and right there he registered.
And after we went through book 1, I decided to become a member of the Baha'i faith.
And he was just beaming, you know, he was so happy, and he said, you know, I feel like this is the path for me. This is the path of knowledge and truth. It's the path to wisdom, and I feel like it's my responsibility to share this with others. So it was really inspiring. And then we went on to study book 2 together. And as some of the practices in book 2, we visited some friends in the area that were isolated and a little bit lonely, and we did presentations for them, and they were so excited to have us at their home. And Mike learned a lot, and I learned a lot. And Mike and I are still very good friends to this day. We talk about once a week or so on the phone and just check in with each other and see where our spirits are. We say prayers for each other, with each other. So it's an inspiring friendship for sure, and I'm grateful.
Sometimes quite a bit at the coffee house, sometimes at this one park underneath the Arboretum, like shoulder and stuff like that. Sometimes we went, she had a gatherings at her place when she was still in Harrisonburg. It felt comfortable, it felt peaceful. I felt an entity calling me to it. It gives me peace, gives me harmony. But because when I was raised Lutheran, I was raised Lutheran Catholic. I had to do both catechisms. And I loved different things, different ideas, and things like that I needed to formulate and stuff like that in my own self, my own spiritual walk, my own spiritual insight. And anybody who is out there doing drugs, alcohol, or any kind of addiction, there's hope. There's prosperity for you to change, to become better, become stronger, to learn, to have a freedom that you never thought you could have, and the highest high that you ever thought humanly impossible. Our life is like a jigsaw puzzle. It takes many pieces to put your life together. There's 3 pieces of the jigsaw puzzle you cannot put together. One is the time you're born, one is the time you die, and the other time is what you get other people say about you. Because this one couple that I met, knew this one woman from Philadelphia knew how to set up a special way for me to go to school. And she set it up for me, and I started going to school. And got a degree in psychology now, got a degree in sociology and philosophy. Many years ago, I didn't want to care if I lived or died. Today, I want to live the fullest life I possibly can because of the spiritual life that I have, because of the recoveries that I had from many different facets of life. Life today, it's a miracle. It doesn't matter what your past is, what troubles that you were, or how you felt as a youngster or in your past life. If you want to change, you can. In any aspect of your life, especially spirituality. Spirituality is the key of change.